All right, we've been live for 2 seconds.
Well, the intro is ready.
We have one viewer.
Already?
Yep.
That's good stuff right there. Hey, do you remember this from back in the day?
Sure.
Did you read those when you were growing up?
Yeah, it was in the paper, right?
Yeah. Bo brought this to me the other day and said, "Can you read these to me?" And I was shocked that they still had pretty much the same ones that when I was a kid.
Been going on forever.
Blondie and Beetle Bailey. It's fantastic. Family Circus. The Far Side's not in here, but they call it something else. Something replaced it.
Because the guy who does it is different?
I don't know. Gary something or another. I don't know if he died. He might have died. I don't want to miss
How do we not
check
know
that. I don't know.
All right, it's 8 o'clock. We have 2 viewers.
Well, we're going to, you know what? I'm going to hit it regardless.
You're going to do it, aren't you?
Yes, sir. That's how we roll.
You waiting for 801?
You're brilliant. You are. I don't care what Lisa says. Uh-oh. Lisa's
That's
watching.
sarcasm, I take it. We've already lost a viewer, Kevin.
Because we're not doing anything.
Well, because I don't know. Do you want to start now? We can start now.
I'm hitting it right now.
Is that our theme song?
That's good stuff right there. I don't care who you are. What's up?
I don't know. You tell me, man.
It's Monday night. It's bumper night.
It is bumper night.
Yes, sir.
Well, bumper night used to be Thursday night, but now I guess it's Monday night.
It's when we say it is, I think. That's what I was told, at least. Uh-oh, I'm by myself. This is going to be a good show. I get to entertain everyone for 30 minutes by myself.
You're by yourself because my puppy was doing something he wasn't supposed to be doing.
I was going to do a one-man show.
We might be better off with you doing that.
No, I doubt that. So
all right.
I will say this. I know we didn't we tell folks that we don't fact check live, right? We have a crack research staff. But I must admit a horrible mistake last week. And I know I made this mistake because Mark Rippon texted me and said, I'm not the idiot that ran my head into a wall. That was my boy Gus Farrat. So apologies to Mark Rippon. And I guess now apologies to Gus Farrat for bringing it back up.
Didn't Farrat miss the next game after that?
I believe he did.
Didn't he hurt his neck or give himself a concussion?
He rammed his head into it. Well, I think there was a padding on that wall, but it wasn't very thick, right? It's almost like slamming your head into a wall. It
literally was a wall with not so great padding.
Right. So Gus, hey man, thanks for letting us remember something fun like that. And the sad part is, I think I was talking about which quarterbacks weren't like overwhelmingly good or whatever that had won a Super Bowl. You know, the Brad Johnson, well, now I forgot his name from the Ravens. Thank you, Dilfer. Man, did they all play for Tampa Bay? They did never
play for Tampa Bay. Those two did. Yeah.
For Rippon, right? And I threw Rippon in there, or Gus Farrat in there instead of Rippon. So for a week, Gus Farrat was a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and Mark Rippon was a guy who slammed his head against the wall.
Well, yeah, at least to the 7 people that stayed with us last week. Yeah.
Our global audience. Hey, a lot of people. Go ahead.
Huh?
I said a lot of people listen to this on Wednesdays when it comes out on Apple Podcasts.
Oh, nice. Nice plug, Kevin. All right, what are we talking about tonight?
We're talking about these incredible playoffs that we keep watching. They keep happening. It's been incredible. The wild card weekend was really, really good. Wasn't fantastic. I mean, nothing special. We didn't jump through the jump through hoops or nothing. But the last weekend was probably the best NFL playoff weekend I've ever seen. And then followed up shortly thereafter by yesterday's 2 games, which were once again down to the last score. It was great. They were great games, fun games to watch. I have no horse in the race, dog in the race, whatever the term is, and neither do you. But I'm sure we had rooting interest, and it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Like the divisional round, the AFC game ended in a last-second score, a field goal. The NFC championship game ended in what's always boring. I think he knelt, 2 or 3 times? It's never a great way to end a game, especially a playoff game like that, to go to the Super Bowl. Like, hey, look, it's a minute and a half left. The quarterback's going to get the snap and go to his knee.
Well,
maybe there's something they can do about that.
Look, my favorite play that my team ever runs is the quarterback kneeling. I mean, because I know we won, right? So, I mean, if you're a Rams fan, if TJ Gwynn was excited to watch him kneel 3 times. But
yeah, but you have to be a Rams fan. Here's the thing about Rams fans. I think there may be more Rams fans in West Virginia than there are in Los Angeles. That stadium had way too much red in it.
It did, but, from what I hear or read online, it was loud for both sides. I think the Rams fans took it personally. One thing Charger fans never did, they never took it personally that other teams were in their stadium and they didn't really try to out-cheer them. Well, apparently the Rams fans were doing their best to out-cheer the 49er fans last night. It would have been fun to be there to see that. Well,
the Rams and the Niners, I guess, they're in the same division, right? They're both in California. In baseball, the Giants-Dodgers rivalry is crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy. So I don't think the Niners and Rams are quite the same because the Rams keep moving around. But maybe once they stay for a little bit longer. There we go. Tucker Martin is here. Tucker, I apologize for not recognizing you last week. That was entirely my bad. Of course, I know who you are, Tucker. It's just been a while, and for some reason I had a brain cramp. I'm glad you're here. Crowd noise was 50-50. I'm with you, at least from what we could tell watching it on TV.
I love it. I got to hit show so I can see Tucker Martin. There he is. Cool.
All right, you want to talk about Let's talk about the AFC game.
Huh? The AFC game. Let's go with Kansas City, Cincinnati first. And wow, I'll be honest, the Chiefs came out and scored 3 touchdowns like that. It was 21-3, and I think my prediction last week was 48-27 Chiefs. And I think I was looking pretty good at that point. Not that I wanted it to be that, but that's what it was looking like. And the Bengals got a screen pass and ran it in. And it was like, okay, Chiefs run right back down the field to end the first half, and you're thinking maybe that was window dressing. They just let the Bengals score so they could get the ball back and go right back and score. And then the play that potentially turned the game around, it was third or second at the 2, and they tried a quick pass, incomplete. Now there's 5 seconds left, and the decision for Andy Reid is, do I try another shot at the end zone? Do I kick the field goal? Well, part of me says I don't blame him for trying. I don't necessarily think the play call was very good. You can't really throw one out there to the side because you got to do it quick, right? You want to take a shot at the end zone. If you don't get it, have a second or 2 left for a field goal. Swinging it out there to Tyreek Hill and hoping he can. Now, don't get me wrong, Tyreek Hill is the quickest dude in the NFL. So you can't really blame him for thinking he could probably get in the end zone. But what a play by, I think, Eli Apple, who was all over the field yesterday, to stop him and stop them from scoring. But I'll say this. At the time, it's 21-10 and a half, and you're like, that probably didn't matter because the Chiefs were just looking dominant. And the Bengals went in at halftime, and they made some adjustments on their defense.
Hey Kevin, can we stay on that last play of the half?
Absolutely.
If you have right the Dolls are saying right play call by Andy, bad decision by Mahomes. I agree Mahomes should have thrown it in the end zone. But here's the thing. If you have 5 seconds left, you're taking a chance at not getting 3 points. And 3 points guaranteed from where they were on the field, right? They're on the 1-yard line. If you're Mahomes and Reed and Bieniemy and all the other guys, Craig Grimes, holy moly. Awesome.
Things just got serious.
It got very serious. Craig is in the house now. You have to go to your first read. It has to be a slant, and if it's not there, throw it into the dirt at some dude's feet on your team, and maybe you have a second or two left. You kick the field goal. Mahomes, the last thing you do is throw it in the field of play and then hope your guy miracles himself into the end zone.
Yeah.
And you've got 22 grown men playing in about 12 yards of vertical space on the field, right? I mean, just come on. These are professional guys making millions of dollars. How does that happen?
$1 million. Well, honestly, if they'd have just handed it to McKinnon, he walked in. But I mean, I guess if you do a running play there and you get stopped at the one, I don't know if they had any timeouts left. It probably wouldn't have been a good move. But anyway, it turned the momentum, and I think Cincinnati went in and I think what they did was they dropped one of their safeties closer to the line of scrimmage in the second half. I think they played a too high safety in the first half, which I think a lot of teams do against KC, trying to stop the big plays, which, to be honest with you, it wasn't working. So they bring that one safety up closer to the line of scrimmage. And I'm not a football guru, so if someone wants to help out here, I think what that does is it adds another person on Kelsey. And Kelsey is the guy that you can't leave open on that team. And Hill. But a lot of Hill's routes are real short slants or across the middle where he'll catch it, and yards after catch, he's gone. So I think they ran, and let's be honest, they rattled Mahomes. The defense started to get to him. The big boy got the tipped interception. It was 21-13. The Bengals had scored a field goal, and then he got the tipped interception. And it was, I mean, at that point, you're like, the momentum is totally on Cincinnati's side. But, I mean, Kansas City still had a chance to stop them, but they just could not. Burrow did a great job yesterday of staying calm. And let me tell you, T. Higgins is underrated. I think he was kind of the star of the game for them yesterday. Other than the tight end went out early, and the backup tight end did well. But everybody's looking at Jamar Chase as well. They should. He's a beast, like we talked about last week, and he did catch a nice touchdown pass. But T. Higgins made some great catches for them to keep drives alive.
Yeah, T. Higgins is arguably, especially with his play the last few weeks of the regular season and the playoffs so far, he is easily a top 10 number 2 receiver in the league. On some teams, he'd be a number 1 receiver. But, yeah, he is a very nice receiver. And sneaky, because most people didn't know really who he was. The casual fan didn't know who T. Higgins was coming into the season.
Yep. So one real quick thing about they scored the touchdown to make it 21-19, and then they go for 2 to tie it. And I've always said, like I've told everybody knows I'm a Chargers fan. And when you go for 2, my thing is you should have some plays in your back pocket to go for 2 that are different than plays you normally run. And the Bengals daggone sure did. They had Taylor in the game, and I don't know, he slipped out to the flat, and we hadn't seen him in the game hardly at all. And so the Chiefs were like, whatever, and they hit him for 2, and that was great to see. So now they've tied the game up, and the Chiefs are fully rattled at this point. Everybody can feel it. The announcers could feel it. We could feel it. And the Bengals defense just continued to suffocate them. They got the ball back. They went down. We hoped they would score a touchdown. They could only get a field goal from that ridiculously good kicker they have with ice in his veins. And I think it was a 52-yarder. So he puts them up by 3 with a 52-yarder. And here come the Chiefs. They finally get a drive going. They get down to inside the 10, and the Bengals sack Mahomes once, and then they sack him again, and he fumbles. And I was like, oh, my God, there's the ball. And I think it was Tooney for the Chiefs, jumped right on it. And, I mean, good for him. That saved the season for them at that point. And they have a great kicker, too. So Butker ties the game. And jump in when you want, Paul, but because I'm going to go straight to overtime unless you want to jump in now.
Well, yeah, so let me talk about the too high safety thing that they were doing. They were playing straight up like conventional, boring too high safety, and all Kansas City did on their first 3 drives was just carve them up with intermediate stuff. Yeah, you were preventing the long play, but you weren't preventing the 10 to 15-yard passes that Kelsey and Hill are experts at.
Yep.
And so when they were mixing up who was coming up and who was staying back, and I think that was just enough. And the Bengals rushers, whether it's their front 4 or the occasional 5th guy coming from the linebacker spot, they seemed to be energized, much more energized than they were in the first half. And so, yeah, Mahomes, doing he gets pressure in his face, and then he just it's like this squirming thing that he does. And he makes some amazing plays out of that, and then he just makes some, I'm going to throw it up and hope Kelsey or Hill comes down with it. And that's what was the interception.
He spun right into a couple of those sacks. And I don't blame him. He's trying to keep the play alive. And obviously the Bengals were doing a great job of covering, because I made the comment a couple of times yesterday. I was like, somebody's got to be open. And they just weren't. But so we get to and Tucker said the crowd went crazy. When they won the coin toss, my first reaction was, oh, here we go again. The Chiefs win the toss. They're not going to get the ball up straight down for a touchdown. And we watched it at the same place. The next comment was, well, wait a minute. The Bengals have suffocated them the whole second half. Maybe this is what the Bengals need, so they can stop them. And then all they'll need is a field goal to win the game. And that's exactly what happened. Not that we know what we're talking about, but Mahomes throws a pick. Great play. Bates made the play. And then I think Von Bell made the interception, and then got clotheslined by Kelsey. And which, Gronkowski, Kelsey is same thing. And then Burrow just methodically let him down the field, mixing and T. Higgins again. It was great to see.
Yeah, well, look, you and I made our predictions. I had Kansas City and San Francisco winning yesterday, so I went 0-2 after a 4-0 divisional round, and I was ecstatic to be wrong about the Kansas City Cincinnati game. Cincinnati, as Rob mentioned last week, hadn't won a road playoff game ever. Right. And then they just went into Kansas City to win their second one ever. I mean, just nuts. Completely nuts. And it is Chase is a stud, as we've talked about. T. Higgins is a quiet stud, and I think he's going to be really good for a long time. And they're just good enough on defense. And you throw Burrow on top of that, he certainly looks cool under pressure. He completely looks cool there.
Hey, Rob made a great point, and that I meant to bring up too. Burrow's legs yesterday, he ran for a couple first downs that you just don't see him normally do, and that's what a great quarterback does. He does what it takes to win, and he didn't run for anything until the second half, and he had to run for those two. He got out of that one. I don't know how he got out of that sack. It looked like Eli Manning in the helmet catch play, and then ran for the first down. Then he did it again right at the middle of the field. So Burrow is wow. And Craig, you're right. I totally agree with this. They've been arrogant as probably. I know their fans have been arrogant, but they don't really. I don't think they respect teams the way they probably should. I think especially yesterday. And then you go up 21-3. They just had a letdown. They're like, we got this. No, you don't.
Football's a funny game, man. It's a funny
game. You never
game.
know.
It happened in both games. The teams that were leading solidly, double-digit points in both games, ended up losing.
Yep.
All right, you want to talk about the NFC game?
Yes, sir.
All right, so the Niners go up nicely, 17-7. Their tight end, Kittle, who has been on my fantasy team 3 or 4 times, he is a really, really good tight end. And I mean scoring, I mean getting a first down, I mean blocking, I mean everything. If every tight end was like that, every team would be stacked at that position. When he scored that touchdown, I'm like, they're up 10. I don't think the Rams can score here. I don't think they're going to score enough points to win this game. And San Francisco just fell asleep on offense from that point forward. Literally fell asleep. The Rams have a really good defense. They're very talented, but they're old. I'm tired of and frankly, Tampa Bay did this last year. The NFL's figured out what the NBA's figured out. Let's find these guys that are seasoned. Maybe they're at the midpoint of their career, maybe a little bit beyond that, but they're still really, really good, and they've proven themselves. Let's go get a bunch of those dudes, get rid of a bunch of draft picks, and we'll have 2 or 3 years. Tampa did it for last year. The Rams are doing it this year. I hope it doesn't work, because I'd rather see a team like Cincinnati, who was built through the draft. I'd rather see them come through. But alas, you have the Rams pulling it out, kind of eking it out. And by the way, I said this last week. I'll say it again. Cooper Kupp is the MVP of this season. Rodgers throws a bunch of touchdowns. Brady throws for a bunch of yards. Fine. The quarterbacks, in some cases, rightly so, get the attention. But Cooper Kupp is a difference maker from the wide receiver position. He's more important to the Rams than I think any other receiver is to their teams.
He's a
Can you
beast.
name another one?
Not this year.
Yeah. Well, it's the MVP for this season, right?
You've seen it in years past. You've seen the Michael Thomases and the DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, you've seen them, but Cooper Kupp has been an absolute beast. But I've got a different take on that game yesterday. And I know you're not a big Rams guy. Yeah, I'm not either. But my dad was a Rams fan in the 70s. But I'll tell you what I think happened. I think what happened is Jimmy Garoppolo. And I hate to say that because he seems like a good dude, but Debo is all they have on offense, it feels like. Like if Debo's not making a play, which by the way, they didn't give him the ball. I think you made the point earlier today. In the fourth quarter, I don't think he touched the ball.
He didn't touch the ball for the last 12 and a half minutes. I saw earlier today.
It's amazing. But I mean, you need to have a quarterback that can do something. And we've seen the last few playoff games, the Dallas game. I know if any Cowboy fans listen, they're probably still frustrated about that because Jimmy G almost gave that game to them. And if they could somehow work the clock there at the end, like normal teams, Dallas may have won that game. Then you go to Green Bay, the special teams won that game. And Aaron Rodgers not doing anything. But the special teams and defense, I shouldn't say Aaron Rodgers, I should say defense. Special teams and defense won that. Jimmy G didn't do anything in that game. And then yesterday, when they needed him, he made one good pass to Kittle for a touchdown. I give him credit, all the credit in the world. But the first touchdown was all Debo. Debo dragging a dude down the field. I feel bad for Debo. He's so good, and they've got some good players. That defense is tough, but we'll have to see next year if you're a 49ers fan if Trey Lance is the real deal because I'm pretty sure Jimmy G is not going to be there. So I'm not trying to go into talk about next year, but I just feel like the Rams won yesterday because the 49ers just didn't have anything to throw back at them, and Stafford made the plays in the fourth quarter to win the game. I mean, look at Odell Beckham. He played great yesterday. You know?
Well, and Odell's a great example. If you're properly motivated because you think your team has a chance to compete in the playoffs and potentially go to the Super Bowl, Odell Beckham, he's renewed again. He just has to be on a team where he thinks they're going to win or at least compete for the Super Bowl.
I think the Rams fans need to give Odell's dad a gift or something for doing that video of Baker Mayfield not throwing to his son. He got Odell shipped out of town. Oh man, what a
we
world.
were talking about Stafford in the second half, and you joked last time we were talking. Stafford comes back a lot in the fourth quarter because they're always down when he was in Detroit. But I think he's a legit like fourth quarter comeback. That's a lot of pressure. You're at home. That team is completely new to you this season. He throws some nice balls, especially 15 yards plus down the field, and he did it again yesterday. And they erased a 10-point deficit pretty quickly.
Yeah, I've always thought Stafford was good. When you're playing somewhere like Detroit, look, I had Phillip Rivers for all those years. No one really knew who Phillip Rivers. They knew him because he shot, did a lot of talking, but we never made the playoffs really. We never made a run, so no one really got to see him. And Stafford, all you got to see is if you watch the NFL Ticket every Sunday, you might get a glimpse of him, but no one really got to see him much. And now they're getting to see him, and good for him. He's stepping up because, there were times late in the season that he was throwing a lot of picks, and people were a little worried about him. But
look, they seem to be clicking as teammates too, all of them. Like,
yeah,
OBJ, Stafford, Kupp.
Craig said Kupp must be invisible because no one's covering him. Hey, where did Kupp go? I don't know. He's invisible. There he is in the end zone. I mean, that's what it feels like sometimes.
And Tucker's coming in strong. We also forgot about how do you say his name? Tart.
Yeah, that's tough.
The Rams still may win that game. You don't know what happens on that, but he intercepts that. They're not tying it up, and maybe San Fran scores because that was pretty good field position. He probably runs it back 15, 20 yards, and they're 35 yards away from the end zone.
Could be. I think realistically, Jimmy G could possibly get them a field goal out of that, and the Rams would have had to score a touchdown instead of 3, which I don't think that would have been a problem. But what a drop! I feel bad for that guy. That's something he'll never forget. Hopefully, he'll come back strong and do something. It reminds me of one of the biggest gaffes. Or do you remember? And this is going to age me. and you, but do you remember when Fred Brown of Georgetown threw the ball to Worthy?
Like it was yesterday.
Championship. Oh, I mean, it was horrible. For a Tar Heel fan, it was fantastic. I love Fred Brown. But I think it was 2 years later, he was on the team that won the championship. And the hug he had with John Thompson was, and I was never a John Thompson Georgetown fan, but it made you feel good, right? Because that was a huge game. I mean, and no one said they were going to win the game, but you're definitely not going to win the game if you don't get a shot because you threw it to the other team to run it down.
I mean, look, I don't root for UNC or Georgetown in basketball, but I felt awful for that guy in that moment. That I can't imagine. National stage, national TV, and he thought it was the ref. I think, right? What do you think? He thought it was the teammate.
No, his guy. He thought it was his guy.
Yeah,
Worthy, his guy left, and Worthy jumped out to the pass and Landy threw it to him. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, good stuff.
Right.
So,
but the Rams are playing the Bengals. I think the entire country is rooting for the Bengals, other than the weird Rams fans that are sprinkled all over the country. By the way, I'm not going to mention any names, but I grew up with a guy that was a Rams fan, and they got pretty bad in the mid-'90s, and he claimed he wasn't going to be a Rams fan anymore. And now I see him all over Facebook saying, "Go Rams, go." I'm like, come on, man. You got to be with them through the bad years, too.
Yeah, no kidding. That'd be like me changing teams because I could have a million times. I mean, even had my wife's even asked, why don't you change teams? She didn't ask recently, but when we first met and she was watching me go through the Charger season, she's like, why are you rooting for this team again?
You just pick another team.
You can't.
Hey, Craig, can you chat who your favorite team is?
I know who they are.
Who?
The Denver Broncos, if I remember correctly.
Oh, that's right. I've been to a Denver-Tampa game with Craig. Which, by the way, I'll remind you, Craig, Tampa won 14-13 that day. All right, let's talk about the Super Bowl real quickly. I think on paper, I don't know, is the line out already?
Hey, before we do that, can we give me what your prediction is? And we won't go through every quarterback because we'll talk about it some other time. Like we got plenty of off-season time, but I'm really interested in the Jimmy G thing because I don't think the Niners are going to sign him, or because. Obviously, they picked Trey Lance, and that's who they want to be their quarterback of the future. And I know Shanahan said, I really love coaching him and all this good stuff, but where does he land next year? Because I do think he is a decent quarterback, and you put him in the right place. And I'll tell you what I think the right place would be for him would be the Steelers. And I know Rob's on, and he's probably like, oh, God, no. Or maybe he does think that's a good idea. I don't know. Rob, you can chime in. But a team with a good defense, a good running game, they got to shore up the offensive line. But I don't know. Somewhere like that, to me, would be good for him.
Well, look, if you want him to manage the game, the Steelers' defense is still really, really good. Their running game, their running backs, really strong. There's been is it a denouncement? Hold on, we'll come back to Craig and the Broncos. Wow. You've completely left fandom because the Broncos breaking your heart after they took Tebow. Where no other team was going to take him in any of the rounds. Yeah, that's fantastic. Look, Jimmy G can be serviceable, but if he's going to win a Super Bowl anywhere, the defense has to be great. The running game has to be virtually great. And they have to have, when he does need to pick up a first down on 3rd and 5, the line's going to have to protect him. I mean, it's doable, but there aren't many teams that are going to have that mix for Jimmy G. Look, if you ask me, is he ever going to win a Super Bowl? I'd say, sure, anything's possible, but I wouldn't put any money on it.
No, absolutely not. And I think Tucker Martin saying Jimmy G to Washington, that's another spot that people don't really think about a lot. Because I don't know if Heineke made some Washington fans think that he was going to be their starter, but that's not a bad spot either. They got a strong defense.
Is the Washington football team still in the NFL?
Right now they are. I think their name change is coming out this week.
Wow, Craig has a long email explaining his rationale for dumping the Broncos back in the day. Craig, you are welcome to join Tampa Bay Bucks fandom if you'd like.
Craig, you can't dump your team.
Even though we're going to be trash for the next 10 years because Brady apparently is retiring.
I can't wait to see this email too because you can't dump your team because they made a bad draft pick. Or I would have dumped my team a long time ago.
Oh yeah, I dump my team every other season.
Yeah, right.
But my team's never made a pick like Tebow. I do have to give that to Craig.
I agree with that. Me either. So we'll give you a little slack there, Craig. So what do you say? Super Bowl prediction or preview?
Sure. Go ahead. You start.
Well, I have no idea. How about that? Because I don't. If I think it's going to be, I think people think it's going to be high scoring. I think it's going to end up being 24-21. I think it's going to come down to the end. These aren't fantastic takes. If you want me to go out on a limb right now, that's tough.
Well, hold on, before you say who's going to win, I'm 4-2 so far. You're 2-4, right? You want me to take the opposite of what you're going to say?
I think you're picking the Bengals no matter what, and because you hate the Rams. So I'll go ahead and stay with the Rams. I actually had someone tell me they buy me dinner and gave me 10 points with the Rams today. That's
how much. Craig is challenging us. Can we name the 4 teams that have never been to the Super Bowl?
Well, the Lions is 1.
Lions 1. Jaguars are 2. Who?
Would you count the Texans?
I don't know. I don't know if that's what he's talking about or not.
I think that.
Well, the Oilers never went to one either, right? But
no, the Tennessee Titans did.
Yeah,
but I think it's the Texans.
Cleveland's never been.
The Browns. Right? The Browns.
Yeah, Browns and Texans.
Yeah. Get some of that. We just fact checked ourselves.
Did we? Or we just got lucky? Craig's going to tell us if we're right or wrong. Oh, that's a good point. No starting tight ends for either team. Yeah, because Cincinnati's guy tore his Achilles, right? And then Higbee had a knee problem. It sounds like it was pretty serious. So, yeah, both starting tight ends are out. That's a good point, Tucker.
That Rams tight end, backup tight end, looked good, though. He played well. I don't know if he's going to be able to step in the Super Bowl stage, but he played well yesterday. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'll give you a
Craig is actually going to the Super Bowl. Is that what you're saying, Craig? I guess we're going to find out here in a second. All right, so Texans, Browns, Lions, Jaguars. All right.
The Lions don't even get respect on this podcast. He called them the loins.
I'm guessing that was a quick typo, but Craig, that's awesome to a Super Bowl. I'm curious how much those tickets cost. They can't be cheap.
Yeah, good for Craig. That's fantastic.
All right, well, if you're hanging on and chatting, why don't we because there's 6 people checking this out right now. I'm going to say Bengals. I'm going to say it's close. It's going to be 20-something to 20-something. Pick a 24-21. Craig, Tucker, Rob, give us your predictions as well. And the other 3, if you want to chime in, please do so. Craig is seriously dedicated to going to the Super Bowl. He's going to be in Arizona, and he's just going to drive the –
I got Rams 28. Oh, that's fantastic. I'd love to make that drive. So 28-24 Rams. That's me.
All right, so we're opposite again, which is cool. Craig, that is a lot of moolah to watch a game. I hope it's close, man. I hope it's close. Craig's coming in Rams 27-17. All right, nice. Tucker.
Look, everybody's picking the Rams. This is not good.
Yeah, that's better for me, I think. All right, let's close out. Tom Brady has not officially retired, but is it just a matter of time?
Where do you see that?
Huh?
I'll listen to Adam Schefter. He said he's retired.
I hope Schefter's wrong for obvious reasons. Rob's with me with the Bengals 27-23. All right. Nice.
All right. Yeah, I'm with Tucker. I don't think Stafford's going to be denied at this point. Burrow will get his ring later on. I don't know. I don't think many people thought Mahomes was going to be denied this year either. True. Yeah, Brady. Bye-bye. Hey, man, it was a great career.
He's just done, even though he hasn't made it official.
Yeah, I think he's saying hold up on that car wash because he wants to do it and make the announcement instead of somebody breaking news when he probably told, what's the short dude on Fox?
Chef. Oh, no, yeah, I know.
And I wasn't making a joke about his height. He just is the shortest guy on the show.
Bald guy. Giants.
Anyway, Giselle said, "I want you home with me and the kids."
And Tucker's. I'm with Tucker. He's going to want to play. I think he might say he's retiring, and then in July he's going to say he's coming out of retirement.
You think he's going to pull a Favre?
I mean, you don't play until you're 44 years old and walk away that easily, man.
What's he got to prove, man?
Nothing.
Absolutely.
But what brought him to Tampa? He didn't have to come to Tampa.
I do. I absolutely think he needed to.
Because he wanted to say that he was the reason they kept winning.
Absolutely. I think his legacy just blew up in a good way when he won that ring with Tampa.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean,
well,
he was already the GOAT.
If he wants to come back to Tampa, he's still going to have a lot of talent in Tampa to do it. I'd hate to have all that talent with no quarterback. That would be rough. All right, next Monday we are bringing on, because this is such a crowd-pleasing move on our part, we are going to have a New York Jets fan come on in the worst 2-week period of the football season, right? You get all this college football. You can go to high school games on a Friday night. You've got a bunch of games every Sunday in the NFL, and then they do this weird, we're going to do this 2-week thing, no Sunday football except for the Pro Bowl, which who cares? And so we're going to bring a Jets fan in next Monday and talk about what it's like to be a Jets fan.
Yeah,
and he's a fun dude. So I think
I'll bring a box of tissues because he's going to need them.
Because we're all going to be
cries a lot. If he's a Jets fan, he cries a lot.
Probably.
No, most likely. JTS, Jets.
He is very loyal.
I do have a Jets story, but I'll wait till next Monday to tell it.
You should save it for the Jets fan. I'm with you.
I will.
All right, hey, Craig, Tucker, Rob, appreciate y'all joining tonight. We usually in between 35 and 40 minutes, and we're at just about 37 minutes. Thanks for hopping on. Appreciate the back and forth, and best of luck to everybody. See y'all.
Thanks, guys.